Hey guys. So last night I was meditating and I had this question. And my question was, why do we experience so much unhappiness? Why is there so much unhappiness in our life? And why are we so pessimistic? And obviously through the law of attraction and my research on that, my understanding of that, and the different intuitive guidances that I've received throughout my life and books that I've read, right? I'm understanding why we're unhappy, right? Our emotions indicate where we are in connection to our soul. But really, like, what is the root cause of unhappiness? Buddha says it's attachment, suffering is attachment. And I was like, but why? Like, I get it's attachment or attached to all these things, but how can we fix that? And so I meditated, I went into it, and I just briefly asked, like, why are we so unhappy and pessimistic and fearful? And instantaneously, I just got the question, when did you stop believing? And I thought to myself, and I was like, holy shit. Yes, when did we stop believing? This is a great video to do for people. Like, I could, people would resonate with this, and I could ask them why they, and that voice, God, Archangel Michael, whoever was like, no, 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 no. Zach, when did you stop believing? And I was like, damn. Wow. Yeah. This is not your question. Who's watching this? This is my question. When did I stop believing? And meditating, usually I try to clear my mind or acknowledge my thoughts and let them go and try to still myself. But I kind of went through the thoughts and I thought, I'm in a receptive mode right now, might as well ask myself. And there were two moments in my life that I really stopped believing. And every day since then has been a struggle to regain my faith. The first time, and I'm not kidding you, I believed in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy until I was 12 years old. I'm not shitting you. Don't judge me. It's a very serious, sensitive topic. I believed in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy until I was 12 years old. And I remember the moment when I was sitting on the couch with my dad and I said, Dad, don't lie to me. Like, just tell me the truth. Is there really a Santa Claus? And my dad is loving and kind and amazing as he is. So, tried to do it in a nice way, but he was like, Zach, there's this, the spirit of Christmas. That's something that we can all feel and believe. And I'm like, Dad, stop. Like, just tell me. And he said, no, there's not really a Santa Claus. I'm Santa Claus. And right there, like, all right, shattered my life. Like, totally, 12-year-old kid. It should have happened years ago, but I appreciate my parents for letting me believe in Santa Claus for as long as I did. And that kind of, it disappointed me. And then I started going to this Baptist church. I don't know if it's First or Second Baptist Church here in Reno, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it with my best friend Kevin, and his uncle was a newly reformed Christian, and Kevin really liked it, so I wanted to go, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the sermons. I liked going to Sunday school. And we would, I'd sleep over his house on Saturday nights, and we would go Sunday morning to church. His uncle would come over early in the morning, we'd go to church. And I really enjoyed it. And so I got more into my faith, but I was always questioning when I was in Sunday school. And I was always questioning still, like, about the stories of Jesus and stuff like that. Like, I love Jesus. Jesus is my guru, you know what I mean? I always say that, but it was true. And so to make a long story short, I was very involved in myself, I think in my spirituality within religion. And the second moment that pretty much ruined my faith, I truly feel, and my belief, was when I was diagnosed with cancer the first time. And God, and the third time was when I was re-diagnosed. And I just remember when I was sick, you're 14 years old, you haven't really lived any life, you feel like you haven't really, I wasn't a bad person, I feel like I had qualities that weren't great, I was a teaser, I was mean to a lot of people in that sense, but I didn't feel like I was bad enough to where I deserved to suffer through cancer. And so I would have those questions like, what kind of God, what kind of being would give children cancer? You know, why did I have to get this? I was in a very pity party mode because at that time I didn't see a lot of other suffering. It was just my suffering. I didn't see the other kids going through the chemotherapy, chemical therapy, excuse me, the poison being put into their bodies and suffering like I was suffering. And that whole long story longer, it really was my whole life since those two moments. I really feel like has been a redesigning of my faith and my belief. And even now, it's so funny. I remember when I had just broken up with my ex and I was really, really working on myself. I was only working part-time. Thank God my parents allowed me to live with them and buy me food because I was a lazy bum. But I was really working on myself spiritually. And I remember just reading the Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And if you haven't read that, it's a six-part series. The first three books are just amazing, and they'll blow your mind and they'll shatter your whole illusions of this reality. But I read it, and I just kept every night I'd go to bed and be like, why don't I have faith? Like, when am I gonna fully believe in my capacity to create, to co-create with the omnipotent source, with the divine principle? You know, I with God. When am I gonna fully believe and stop questioning all the time? And I still, to this day, I do these videos and I talk about belief, and sometimes it's really strong, and I feel really connected to God and Jesus and Archangel Michael and these masters and these spiritual beings. And sometimes I lose it, you know, I just don't feel, I get lost in my job, and I get lost in hitting my quotas and my numbers, and I get lost in this person being a punk and that person being a punk, and losing sight of the bigger picture, losing sight of my inner faith, that it's my perception, it's my belief, and I have the ability to hone in on that and strengthen it. But I know that all the unhappiness in my life personally has come from my own lack of belief. I wanted something, and in my lack of believing that it was going to come to me, I suffered, right? I was unhappy. I wanted to get better. I didn't want to be sick anymore. I didn't want to be on chemotherapy anymore. I didn't want to take prednisone anymore. I didn't want any of these things. And my desire was to be free of them, rid of them, normal again. That was all I wanted. And in not having that, and in not having that belief that it was going to happen, I suffered, right? I was unhappy. I didn't truly believe 100% all the time that I was going to get better. There was always this little sheer doubt in my mind that I was going to stay sick forever. You know, it's just the nature of the ego, the nature of the mind. But 90% of the time, we'll say 80% of the time, there was always this little impulse. There was always this little voice, and I can only attribute that to the voice of God, to the voice of the angels, to my spiritual guides, like, to just keep going. And they constantly reiterated to me, believe, 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 believe. And I guess for me, in this time of Mercury retrograde, I'm going through a lot of transition. I hope you are too, because we're going to get spit out like a missile and feel great after this. But that question for me, when did I stop believing? It's just so profound. I think Walt Disney said it when it's like, when did you stop believing in fairy tales? It just is so profound, and it can demonstrate so much in our lives. Like, maybe you had an abusive parent, or no parents, or you were raised poor and so you learned behaviors about money, or you were always hungry, or you could have been sexually assaulted, you know, raped. You could have had something, an illness happen to you, A friend could have died, a parent could have died, whatever, grandparent could have died, a brother or sister. Something could have happened to you. And I really challenge, like I wanted to do this video because I wanted to share what was going on with me, but I really challenge whoever's watching this and whoever made it to this 10 minute mark. When did you stop believing? And find that moment and heal that moment within yourself. Like, go within yourself, acknowledge it, acknowledge that it happened, and acknowledge that you made the choice at that moment. Granted, it was because of an experience, an external happening that you were witnessing, right? You were experiencing this situation that was horrible, but it caused you to lose your faith. I challenge you to go within yourself and heal that. Don't fix it. I was going to say fix it. Don't fix it. Heal it. Accept it. Acknowledge it. And grow from here. I know that right now, that's what I have to do for myself. I have to talk and pray as much as I can to God, to the divine source, to the universe, to whoever you pray to or talk to. Don't get stuck on yourself. I know that I loved the law of attraction because it reminded me that I had the power in my life. But as I'm getting older, I'll be 30 this year, old me, I'm reminded that it's not just about me. It's a co-creative experience with our soul, with our source. And you have to have faith and believe that there is something that has your back, that there's a manager in the sky, that there is a parent that wants nothing more than your fulfillment. I truly believe right now in my heart that that's the key to happiness. To let go of the attachments to things and have faith and believe that your creative source is working with you and wants exactly what you want. Ask yourself that tonight. Pray, meditate. When did I stop believing? When did I stop believing in fairy tales? Because what kind of world do we live in if we don't believe in fairy tales anymore? And I think if enough of us can start believing again, truly believing, challenging when we stop believing, acknowledging it, and moving forward from here, the world as we know it will completely transform for us. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you liked it, please share it. Maybe somebody else can be inspired from it too. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. I love you guys. I really do. And I'll talk to you next time.